Yeah, okay. So thank you, GIS, for this opportunity to give me to participate in this, I would say, highly international, one of the best conference I've ever seen. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm going to present a case which actually have all the complications could happen in one case in one day. So it's an unfortunate, but it went very well. One thing is just the case is not complete because 2 days ago he had another things related to the procedure we've done here. Okay, so he's a very young man, 41 years old. He has severe coronary artery disease. 3 years ago, he was diagnosed with non-ST elevation myocardial infarctions, and he was have 3-vessel disease and was offered CABG, but he declined at that time. It was not in our center, not by me. He had a PCI to LAD and left circumflex, and there was a CTO of the RCA, calcified vessel, and the patient was discharged on medical treatment, feeling that he doesn't need any intervention to his RCA. He was put on all medications, and his LDL prior to the presentation to me was 15. So he presented to me with active clinical angina. He told me that he had symptoms on exertion, so I put him on a treadmill just to prove it. He had positive stress test. He had multiple attempts, at least 2 to 3 times before me to do the RCA, but it was failed. He was hemodynamically stable, nothing in the echo. All investigations were unremarkable. I'll show you the coronaries. He had a patent stent to the LAD and left circumflex, as you can see, with the collaterals going into the RCA. This is his RCA with total occlusion, the mid segment with calcified vessel. So we attempted to do RCA CTO, use antegrade approach, contralateral injection. You can see my wire first was subintimal, was not in the true lumen. Now I start to feel that I am in the true lumen, but it couldn't go to the PDA. So every time the wire goes into the PLV. And this is Fielder XD wire. And finally exchange this with a Gaia second, trying to go to the PDA, but still did not go to the PDA. You can see that the wire is very deep in one of the small branches of the PLV. And at that time, I was thinking to switch it to, horse wires such as Cyan Blue or BMW. But at that time, hopefully that I can cross to the PDA. I couldn't cross to the PDA at all. Then I start to pre-dilate, just for the sake of I start to pre-dilate that lesions. I can see there's long segment of dissection in the middle segments. I'll just repeat this picture. You can notice there is a dissection in the middle. There is a dissection in the distal as well. But if you can notice clearly here, maybe in the next picture. You can see in that one of the small branches of the PLV, there is extravasation. At that time, I had 2 options. The patient was hemodynamically stable. Should I continue PCI? Should I try more aggressive? Or should I stop? I had that feeling if I continue PCI. I did IVUS, and distally, I was in the true lumen. For the sake of the time, I have to, I have a flight after 2 hours, so I have to be very quick here. I'm sorry. Okay. So I decided at that time to stop and just observe for 1 day, hopefully that there is no complications or more complications to happen.
Could you just, sorry to interrupt, I want to show something. Go back to your slide with your Gaia and the PL.
This one.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, do you see what's happened here? Your wire is knuckled.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
tip is, you're on the stiff part of the wire.
Yes.
And that's why.
Yeah. I know. I noticed that, and that's where the extravasations, I had a feeling to stop at this moment. Don't push more. Don't stand. Don't do anything. I stop.
Do we have an angiogram from the extravasation where the distal?
Yeah. So probably the wires were, you can see there is an extravasation there. So as I felt, the patients went to the CCU under observations. 2 hours later, they called me patient's hypotensive tachycardic. And everyone knows what actually is going on. He had pericardial effusion and tamponade. You can see how big is the tamponade. This is all fluid. This is more than 2 centimeters of pericardial effusion, and obviously it was bloody. And you can see there is an RA collapse there. This is a big IVC that's not collapsing at all. So I drained 200, almost 250 of hemorrhagic effusion. I transfused him 1 unit, and then I said, okay, let's transfer him back to the CCU again. This is echo showed complete resolution of pericardial effusion. Okay, so 2 days later on, the patient, or sorry, next day, the patient developed atrial fibrillation, hemodynamically stable, put him on amiodarone, reverse sinus within 24 hours. So that's the second complications. He developed atrial fibrillation, probably from the irritation of the pericardium. Okay, so 3 days later, he was in the CCU, but we're noticing that hemoglobin is still dropping from 11.1 to 9.4. So I thought, oh, maybe the femoral. Let's do CT scan. The CT scan did not show retroperitoneal, it showed intraperitoneal hematoma. There is no clear site where that extravasation coming from. The only possible explanation that's because when I went to get the pericardial effusions, it was very difficult, so maybe that's where it hits a small vessel that's causing this. I don't have any other explanation why this intraperitoneal bleeding happened. So we had now intraperitoneal hematoma, pericardial effusion, atrial fibrillation. I think the message was stop. No, don't do anything for now. It's an RCA at the end. Okay, so usually it's called vascular surgery and said, okay, we know he's okay, hemodynamically stable. There is no clear extravasations from the CT scan. We know there is a hematoma, but we don't know the site, so let's just leave it as it is. He received 2 packs of IBCs, and then 5 days from admission, he was stable, hemoglobin is okay, and discharged home. And to have another look after 3 to 4 weeks. Hopefully that will be healed. Patient was okay. He came back again with worsening angina than before. So I decided to go ahead and fix it. Hopefully at that time, I was able to cross the PDA. I used double lumen catheter to cross the PDA, and then this time I managed to do PCI successfully, 2 stents proximally, 2 drug balloon distally, and he was okay. So he developed hemopericardium, hemoperitoneum, atrial fibrillation. The story did not finish yet. This week last week he told me, I'm fine. I didn't bring the breast, but he said, I'm fine, no angina at all. But I start to have leg pain when I walk. I said, oh, come on, you have to give me a break here, man. So the surgeon just sent me a picture of what he did, actually. So we did an ultrasound Doppler. There is some hypoperfusion to the leg. CT scan shows severe stenosis at the side of the femoral artery. They actually saw clearly it's surgical, severe dissections and severe intimal tear, and they have to use a graft to bypass the femoral, unfortunately. So in summary, this is, okay, successful RCA stenting, but with all complications that we try to avoid in the cath lab, but every time and then we have to face all the complications. The patient developed pericardial effusion, intraperitoneal hematoma, atrial fibrillation, and then dissection to the femoral artery. Thanks God, the patient is doing very well so far. He's young, but he had this multiple stents, multiple complications, including a graft in his peripheral vascular disease. Thank you very much. I thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you very much.